Hi, I'm Lizzie Thompson. I'm a Go London writer for the Evening Standard, and today we're here at ZSL London Zoo. I'm here with Andy, who is an expert presenter, and we're going to be learning a little bit more about the penguins and what day-to-day life is like for them here at the zoo. So hi Andy, thank you for joining us today.
That's quite all right.
So do you want to tell us a little bit more about your job here?
So I'm part of the presenting team here at the zoo. We do all the talks throughout the day, so when visitors come, every kind of 15 minutes, half an hour, there's a talk, be it tigers, otters, bugs. It's quite exciting because you kind of never really know what you're going to come into when you come in on a morning. They're just kind of like, right, today, camels, giraffes. So keeps you on your toes.
Great, I'll bet. So do you want to tell us a little bit more about Penguin Beach here? So how many penguins are here and what's the male and female split?
Yeah, so Penguin Beach is home to 94 penguins and it's a pretty even split. There's 40 males and 39 females, and the rest of them are unsexed as yet, because particularly with the juveniles, it's quite hard to tell them whether they're male or female. You've got to either DNA test them, or sometimes they can exhibit kind of behaviours that give you a bit of a clue, but until you DNA test them, you can't be 100% sure. So 40 definites male, 39 definites female, the rest, it's a mystery.
Yeah, and what's the age range?
So the youngest one we've got is 1, so we had a few chicks last year that are just hitting 1 now, and then the oldest ones are 20, 21.
Great.
So there's quite a bit of a range between them.
For sure. And how many different species of penguin are there?
So it depends who you ask. Some people say 18, some people say 19. We say 18. There's a bit of an argument whether northern and southern rockhoppers are the same thing or not. So we go 18, so that's how much it is.
And these are Humboldt penguins?
They are Humboldt penguins,
How do Humboldts, what makes them different from other species?
So a lot of the differences basically are where they're from. So these guys are from Peru and Chile. You'll find them on the coastal areas of them, living in the kind of cold water current, the Humboldt current, which oddly enough being a cold water current means that the water temperature is fairly similar to what it is here. So we don't need to heat the water or anything like that. They're quite easy to identify if you line up all your penguins in a big line.
Yeah.
These are quite easy to spot because they've got the black spots you might be able to see, and a kind of black band across the chest here, and then a big pink circle around the face.
Great. And are Humboldt penguins endangered?
They're vulnerable, so yeah, there's not too many around. There's about 12,000 breeding pairs at the minute, so they're listed as vulnerable at the minute.
Great. And what conservation work does ZSL do?
Historically, we've done a lot of work out in the southern hemisphere, researching populations, and various people, scientists have been out to Antarctica researching various species of penguin. At the minute, one of our big campaigns with penguins and a lot of our marine life is a drive to try and get people to reduce their plastic usage. So we've got our One Less campaign to encourage people to use less single-use plastic, because that's becoming a big problem for penguins and kind of marine life in general, really, because it all ends up in the sea, floating about.
Not good at all. So how many times are the penguins fed?
So we'll feed them 4 or 5 times a day. Not every single penguin feeds every single time. They'll come over when they're hungry. And as you see in a minute when we do the feed and the talk, some of them will come over, and I dare say the ones that got fed at 1:30 will hang around at the back of the beach. And then we'll keep an eye on them and weigh them and make sure that they're all kind of feeding properly, and the keepers will feed them all individually every morning.
Great. So as Andy said, we're going to be handing over to the presenter very soon to watch the penguins being fed. But before that, how do you tell them all apart?
It's tricky, isn't it? Because they all look pretty much the same. But once you get used to it, I'll be honest with you, I can tell about 10, maybe 12 of them apart. The keepers can do all 94.
Right.
But if you look at each one of them, you'll see each one's got a kind of unique spot pattern, which is like a fingerprint. So we've all got different fingerprints.
Like humans?
Exactly the same thing. So they all have different spot patterns, and to make life a little bit easier, you might notice they've all got different kind of coloured bands with little beads on them.
Yes, yeah.
And each kind of combination of beads is a different penguin.
Great.
Well, that's more important with the juveniles because they don't tend to have their patterning yet, so it makes it easier to tell those ones apart.
Oh, okay. And do you have any favourites?
My favourite is Rendell, who keep your eyes out for one with kind of like green beads and a little orange one at the end. So when I'm doing the talk, he quite often comes and sits kind of between your legs with his arms out like that and kind of just sits there almost like cuddling you, which is quite sweet.
Aww.
I mean, it's the best you can get from penguins, I suppose.
Yeah, and do they all get on?
Yeah, they are a colony, so they do get on. Every now and again you'll see them kind of like 2 there have just swam into each other and given each other a bit of a peck. But the colony in general do get on, and you'll see them in different kind of groups. So if you look around Penguin Beach, you'll notice them in different spots. But they're
All
a
good.
happy
So
campers.
there's no troublemakers, or a
No,
few
well, it depends who you ask, I suppose.
Right.
I mean, I would say that Ziggy and Charlie are pretty much troublemakers, but that's largely because they bite me quite a lot. Charlie's kind of like the opposite of Rendell. He quite often bites my tattoo when I'm doing the talk. I don't know if he thinks it's edible. So I would list him as a troublemaker, but I dare say there'll be some keepers that tell me I'm wrong.
Right, and it's breeding season right now for the penguins.
Yeah, so they'll generally lay their eggs kind of March, April time. So we're kind of right in the middle of that at the minute.
Great.
So there's some eggs kicking about out on the beach.
Oh, wow.
In the nest boxes in the burrows over there.
Cool. And how long does it take for the eggs to hatch?
It takes you looking sort of 38, 40, 42 days until they start hatching, and then hopefully you'll see some little chicks appearing on the beach or sometimes in the training pool over by the side there.
So sweet.
When they get their wings. It's really funny watching them learn how to swim, because you can watch them swimming around on the water and they can't work out how to dive, but they kind of know they have to. So they'll swim around like this and then just put their face in the water and just kind of bob around on the surface.
Oh, bless.
It's sweet.
That is
very
sweet.
funny.
That is sweet. And what does Penguin Beach offer the penguins?
So we try to make it as naturalistic as possible. So there's kind of natural substrate for them. You see all the rocks and the sand. The water's salted, salt water for them, and it's the temperature it would be out in the wild. There's loads of little feet. You'll see the burrows as well. So they are an animal that lives in burrows out in the wild. They build the burrow out of guano or their own poo, which is actually one of the big problems they face out in the wild. Is a lot of people harvest the poo to use as a fertiliser.
Okay.
So that's one of the problems they face. So they've got their burrows they go down into, build their nests. We've got fans running around the edge of Penguin Beach as well, kind of giving them a bit of a coastal breeze. Okay. On really hot days, these rocks down at the side here fire out mist.
Oh.
Just keep it, if they're standing on the side there, just keeps it a bit humid, keeps it nice and damp. We've got the tide as well running around. All the waterfalls are kind of timed so that it makes a bit of a tide around there. So there's loads of little features around. There's little bags of lavender as well. Hanging off the fans.
Why is that?
So that just helps to stop mosquitoes and things like that bothering them. So there's loads of little features and little bits of Penguin Beach that just help them live as kind of naturally as possible, really.
Cool, great. Well, thank you. That was really good to hear about all of that. So I think now it's time for us to pass over to the presenter, who's going to be telling us a little bit more about what it's like for penguins day to day here at the zoo. And yeah, we're going to get up and close and watch a live feed. So that sounds really good. So great.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Penguin Beach here at ZSL London Zoo. We do hope you've enjoyed your day so far. My name is Jess, I'm one of the presenters here at the zoo, and I'm going to be telling you all about these amazing animals, our fantastic penguins. They're just having a little bit of recall training here with Susanna, so here a lot of them come. They're going to be very, very excited because it is their final feed of the day, so they're going to be very, very happy to get lots and lots of lovely food. Now we're going to have a keeper feeding down the front here with all the penguins swimming very excitedly in the water. So all you guys in the front seating area are going to have a lovely view of our penguins swimming for their lunch, and we're also going to have a keeper moving up and down the side of Penguin Beach, so you guys as well will have a fantastic view of our penguins. But first of all, I need to get one question out of the way. Who here loves penguins? Yay, fantastic. We absolutely love our penguins here at London Zoo, and if you do, you are definitely in the right place. This is the largest penguin pool in the whole of England, and it's home to well over 90 penguins. We've got a lot of penguins here at London Zoo, and we've all got one species here. These all are Humboldt penguins, although some of them are looking a little bit different from the others. You'll notice a lot of them have the black strap that goes across the top of their chest. That means they are adults, but some of them don't quite have that yet. You can see the cheeky Charlie just walking along down here near you guys, near the side of Penguin Beach. He hasn't quite got his black strap, and that is because he is a juvenile, so he's still quite young. But when he goes through his molt, which penguins go through every single year, he will gain that lovely adult plumage as well. I will point out, of course, we have been joined by some local wildlife, our lovely herons. They do not belong to us here at London Zoo, but they absolutely love to come and visit us and to try and steal a cheeky fish or two. And that is the main item on the menu today. Penguins absolutely love fish. In fact, every single one of our penguins here will eat about 30 fish every single day. So we get through a lot of fish here at London Zoo. So you forgive us if it smells a bit fishy around here. And they've got loads of amazing adaptations to help them catch their fish whilst they're swimming through the water, because unlike these flight birds, like this cheeky heron here who's trying to snag a fish or two, and they can't fly through the sky, but you could say that they are flying through the water because they are very, very graceful. Fantastic, fantastic swimmers. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of the amazing adaptations that these penguins have, starting off with their wonderful, wonderful feathers. So Ziggy here is flapping his wings there, showing off his lovely feathers. They have 2 layers of feathers. They've got an outer layer of semi-waterproof feathers, a bit like a wetsuit. Very, very handy when swimming through the water. And an inner layer, very, very close to their skin, that's really, really soft and thick, made of downy feathers. That keeps them nice and warm when they're diving in the sea. Very, very handy, and because penguins are diving very, very far down into the water. All penguins can dive up to 100 metres down into the water to look for their dinner, but Humboldt penguins are beating the most. They can actually dive 150 metres down into the water, which is about the same size as Big Ben, and half of it on top of that again. So they are diving really, really far down for their dinner. So very, very well adapted. And to help propel themselves through the water at speeds of up to 15 miles per hour, their wings have developed to be a bit more like flippers. So they're very, very fast swimmers compared to us. The average human being can swim around 2 miles an hour. They're beating us there with that amazing speed of 15 miles an hour. And to help them steer their way through the water, some of you guys will have seen them swimming down at the front of this talk after doing a bit of recall training. Where Susanna will call the penguins up to the top, reward them with some fish, and they'll come right back down again for some more lovely lunch. They're steering their way through the water with their feet, with their lovely flippers, which gives them the fantastic waddle that we can see on the side here. You're doing a fantastic little waddle for me, wonderful. But they also use them as rudders on a boat, so they'll be using them to steer their way around the water. Very, very handy when they're going at that top speed. But the best thing when it comes to being a penguin is using that fantastic beak. Now it is very, very sharp, and our keepers here have to be really, really careful when it comes to hand feeding our penguins. Susanna's doing a really good job there of trying not to get pecked to death, aren't you, Susanna? Yeah, she's trying really hard. She's got one less finger apparently, there we go. But yes, it takes a lot of technique to feed a penguin because they've got a little hook right on the end of their beak which helps them spear straight through a fish's body. So it's very, very sharp indeed. And if you guys are lucky enough to see a penguin yawn today, you will see a penguin has a lovely spiky tongue. They have spikes that help push fish down into their bellies, because I don't know about you guys, I've never tried to eat a live raw fish in the water. It'd probably try and swim back out of your mouth again, but those spikes help push it down into their tummies, making it a little bit easier for them to swallow. So again, a very, very good adaptation that our penguins have here. Another amazing adaptation is actually to do with camouflage, which might sound a bit strange because we can see our penguins very, very clearly here at Penguin Beach, but I want you guys to imagine that you're swimming below a penguin and you look up. Their bright white belly is going to blend in with the bright white sky above, making them very, very tricky to spot. And the same goes if you're swimming above a penguin and you look down, that black back is going to blend in with the deep dark sea below, again making them very, very tricky to spot. A very, very clever way of disguising themselves from predators like killer whales and leopard seals, but also to help them sneak up onto their fish as well, which they do so love. Now around the world there are 18 different species of penguin. They come in all different shapes and sizes. The tallest one comes up to about here on me. It's 4 foot tall, and that is the emperor penguin. But the smallest one probably deserves a little bit of an R because it is very, very cute. It's about half the size on one of these Humboldt penguins. That is the little blue penguin. Ah, also nicknamed the fairy penguin. Very, very cute indeed. But we have the fantastic Humboldt penguins here, and they are found on the coastal regions of Peru and Chile. Might sound like a bit of a strange place to find penguins because it is nice and sunny and warm there, but actually the majority of penguin species actually really enjoy the sun and really enjoy sunny climates. There's only 5 out of that around 18 different species that actually live in the cold and the snow, so the majority are living in hot sunny climates. Now what I love about Humboldt penguins is if you have a little look at their tummies, they each have a unique spot pattern to each individual, and it helps our keepers here determine who's who in our huge colony here. And they all have a unique spot pattern. They've all got their own names and definitely have their own personalities as well, which is why we love our penguins so much here at London Zoo, just like you guys. And if you do love penguins, you will definitely want to get involved with a little bit of conservation work to get on board so that you can do yourselves at home. And that is getting on board with our hashtag One Less campaign. We're trying to encourage people to use less and less one-use plastic, things like plastic bottles you notice around the zoo today. We don't sell any plastic bottles of water or drink. They're all in recyclable cans, a lot more easy to recycle. We're just encouraging people to get reusable plastic bottles to cut down on the amount of plastic we use. We produce about 300 billion tonnes of plastic every single year. A third of it doesn't get recycled and will end up in the sea. And of course, amazing animals like penguins end up unfortunately ingesting it and having devastating effects on the numbers out in the wild. So that is a little simple change that you guys can do. In fact, hands up here who recycles. Say it loud, say it proud. Fantastic, pretty much a full house. Wonderful stuff. And also, has anybody brought a reusable water bottle with them today? Amazing stuff. Quite a lot of you guys as well. You are already doing your bit for those fantastic penguins out in the wild. Definitely consider getting yourself a reusable water bottle for the very near future to help animals' lives out in the wild. Thank you so much for coming along and joining us here at ZSL London Zoo today. If you didn't know, we are a conservation charity. We do work in over 50 countries worldwide, and your ticket sales have helped fund our really vital, important conservation work. So thank you so much for coming along and spending the day with us, and enjoy the rest of your day here at ZSL London Zoo. Thank you.
So welcome back to everyone watching. That was a really great presentation from Jess, learning about the day-to-day lives of the penguins here and watching them being fed. So Andy, obviously penguins are your favourite animal.
Well, yeah,
No?
I don't know if they're my favourite animal, but they're probably top 10. They're
really?
all right. I mean, they smell quite a lot, I'm sure.
So what are your other favourite animals?
My favourites are the okapi. A lot of people
The what?
look blankly when I say that. Yeah, so it's a really weird kind of, it's the cousin of the giraffe. So
Right.
there's two animals in the giraffe family.
Okay.
Giraffes
Yeah.
and okapis. And they kind of look like a mixed match of all sorts of different animals kind of stuck together, glued together. So they look like a kind of giraffe's head with a deer/horse's body and a zebra's
Quite
bum and
mythical,
legs. Yeah, a
really,
bit
yeah.
mythical. And that's
Like,
actually
yeah.
that's what people thought the first one was. So that's one of the reasons I kind of like them, is I like the story of how they were discovered.
Right.
So scientists went out to Africa because they'd heard a rumour that there was a unicorn there, and because they got a horn.
Oh, right.
So he went out to try and find it, and he kind of heard rumours about this animal that had a kind of giraffe's head with
Oh,
a zebra's
wow.
legs and a kind of velvety body, and he drew it, or the idea of what it was, and sent it back to London. And he was slammed in the popular presses because people thought he was just making it up, and he got all his funding cut.
Oh,
and,
really?
yeah, they thought he'd gone out there and spent all this money and just not found anything, so just made up an animal, because it does look like a cut and
Oh, my
shunt of all
gosh.
sorts of different things.
Yeah.
And then a couple of years later, he managed to find one and sent it back, and then
That was proof.
everyone forgave him.
Yeah, it was
or more
proof of
likely,
it.
he forgave everyone else because they were quite mean. And the scientific name's got John Stoney in it now, so it's forever immortalised. So that's one of my favourites. And then otters are another one. It's difficult not to love
Another
an otter.
water.
Yeah,
water
another one.
creature.
I suppose in a lot of ways otters are just kind of like a harder version of penguins, because I mean, these guys, when we get the herons coming over, they all run a mile, whereas the otters kind of have a bit more of
Oh, really?
bit more of a defence of them. Yeah, we get a lot of herons coming here from over in the park. There's about 7 of them live there, and they're like, you can set your watch by them. They come over here in the mornings when these guys are getting a bit of breakfast.
Oh, really?
Then they'll go over the otter pool at 11:30, have a bit of mid-morning lunch there.
Yeah.
And then they come back here at 1:30, and then, as you saw, and as you can still see flying around us, they're here again
Yeah.
for 4:30. They're
So
fattest
bang on
otters.
feeding time.
Yeah. They eat so
Really?
much fish, I'm surprised they can fly away.
Oh, wow. And so people watching, if they want to come and, because I know you do talks and tours here, how would people go about coming to a talk or a tour?
So as soon as you're in the zoo, you can come to any of them. So you can check on a website,
Yep.
or when you come in the zoo and you get your map, you get a little talk programme, and it'll tell you what time they all are. And they're included in the price of the entry fee, so you don't have to pay
great.
extra to come to any of them. And
Are they quite regular?
they're very regular, so there's one every half hour. Different animals around the zoo. And then every now and again there's kind of like one every 15 minutes, and they run all day. So I mean, hypothetically, you could spend your entire day coming to all the talks. Which
Oh, yeah,
you don't have to
every
do,
hour.
But you should do, because then I can keep my job.
Great.
So yeah, you can spend time. You can learn all sorts of things about different animals. A lot of things about animals that people don't tend to know much about. So we do things like penguins and tigers and giraffes and things like
great.
that. But we do talks about camels and invertebrates. So
Cool,
people can
so
learn about
a
stick
real
insects and
mix,
things.
yeah.
Yeah, and they're all kind of like different vibes as well. So people can come to really busy ones like penguins, or if people want a kind of quieter one, there's like little bird tours that they can go
Aw.
on, and they're a bit more kind of intimate. And,
Yeah, that sounds-
people can ask more questions and chat to us. We're
That
very
sounds
friendly
good.
people.
And if people at home wanted to come and watch the penguins being fed for themselves in real life,
Yeah.
what times and how would they go about
So we do free penguin talks during the day in the summertime. So there's 1:30 and 4:30 where they get fed, and then we do another talk in the morning at 11:30 where they don't get fed, but we do a talk that's kind of more geared towards kids,
Okay.
little ones, and like school groups as well, where we kind of get people down and dress them up as a penguin and kind of point out all the different features, and
Oh,
it's kind of
great.
a bit more kind of like lively and fun and interactive
Yeah.
for them. But the
Oh,
feeding
cool.
ones are 1:30 and 4:30.
Cool.
It's a more general big
Perfect.
presentation, as you just saw.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Andy. It was really
It's
nice
been a
speaking to you
pleasure.
today. If anyone watching wants to find out more about ZSL London Zoo's conservation work, make sure you click the link in our Facebook description box. So, yeah, great. Thank you so much.
No worries.
And yeah, perfect.